Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Driveway Engineer. I'm JR. That's Mrs. Engineer Brittany. Say hello to the people. This is Mrs. Engineer's new vehicle. This is what she decided on. So, like everything in life, there's a lot of factors that go into making a decision, right? We looked at Broncos. We looked at 4runners. We looked at Wranglers. They all have their pros and cons. We want to do this, right? Like we want to be here, and this is a 2-track and it looks pretty tame, and it is, but you can't get to where we're at without 4-wheel drive. There's a mud hole down there that we had to come through. It's nothing major, but you're not going to get out here in your minivan. So this is what we like to do. This is what we used to do when we had our FJ Cruiser, and when we had our Grand Cherokee, the air suspension on it rode really bad. It didn't have a lot of travel. It would be limited. If you look up like Grand Cherokees like ours off-road, you'll see them. They're like a piece of plywood. I mean, they have maybe 3 inches total travel at the most. So we drove a Bronco. It was very comfortable. It rode well down the road. It was fast. Black Diamond specifically so that we could get a locker and we could get lower gears. Those are things that actually matter to us. Mrs. Engineer didn't like the interior. She said it felt like Rubbermaid. Felt cheap. So we went down the road to the Jeep dealership. We're not brand loyal people, right? Like we want something we can use for our money, and that's it. So we went down the road to the Jeep dealership, drove a Wrangler Willys, which has, that particular one had 410 rear gears and a rear locker, which used to be an option on the JK. Then it went away for a while, and you can only get lockers in the Rubicon. Like they wanted to keep that higher tier sales going. When we went down the road, she said, well, I don't like, it bounces. They buckboard because solid axles, right? You gain a lot of off-road, but you lose a little bit of on-road. So I said, well, maybe you should try a Gladiator. And we had always shunned the Gladiator before because it's not a great truck, basically. But I said, we don't really need it to be a great truck, right? Like we have many great trucks. So we need a vehicle that we can use, that you can drive, that you enjoy, and that we can get off-road in. So we drove a Gladiator Willys, which did not have 410 gears because the Gladiators are optioned differently than the Wranglers. And she said, well, it feels a little slow, which 3.6 Pentastar is a fine engine, reliable, 8-speed ZF transmission. It's like a proven combo. They've literally put out millions of them, but not a speed racer, right? So I started looking around, and it's been a while since I've been into this. Prices went crazy. I actually went to look at some Broncos one day, and I noticed that they had on their lot like a dozen 4-door 23s that were unsold. So I thought, how many Jeeps are unsold? 23s. 24 model years, what's current? So we started looking around, and I started going back through the history of the trims and what matters and what doesn't, and what is and what isn't. Like, Rubicons 2 years ago were $70,000. So that's just out of the question for us. So if you're thinking I'm like rolling in that YouTube money, I'm getting to the point. I am not. I'm just rolling in like normal middle class folk money. So I was going to buy a Sport with a max tow package, which gives you 410 gears, but no locker. And then it gives you like 245 weenie tires, but you can build it out from there. And then one of my former colleagues was like, dude, you need to check out the Mojave because it's got Fox shocks. I'm like, I don't care about Fox shocks. It's like, oh, it's got a rear locker. It's got the stuff. So I started looking, and this was at the deal, or this one, there was one like this at the dealer we went to originally. They didn't show it to us for some reason. So like, well, can we drive this? It's got 410 gears. It's already got 33-inch tires. It seems a little more appropriate. It's got Fox shocks with bypasses on it, which is pretty fancy. Not only that, there's a few other things. It's got a heavier duty front axle. Like, it has a Rubicon style axle, but it has, you guys can't see shit in there, can you? It has hydraulic bumps. So what that means, instead of like a hard rubber bump stop, so when you bottom out, it bang, bang, it actually is like another shock. Go, pew, pew, like Razors have them, Can-Ams. It's desert rated, and it actually is built for jumping. So they beefed the frame up on the Mojave. There were a few decisions that led us this way. This one came with all-weather floor mats and like a hard vinyl seat, which is easy to clean out, or will be easy to clean out. It's got 200 miles on it. This is we literally bought it yesterday. And with it being a 23, so I was able to go to another dealer across town, and they both had high octane yellow Gladiators. So on my lunch, I ran over to look at this one, which was across the mall where we know Jeeps belong. And the kid came out, he's like, I've never lost a deal on sale. I'm like, well, you know, I have a dealer across town and they're going to sell it to me for 53. So this is what you have to beat. It's almost identical. I gave him the website so that he could look it up. We went back and forth. We wound up getting this for like 51 out the door, which it's off a sticker of $66,000 and off an invoice of 63. So they sold this to us at a loss because they have to punt it. It's a 23. Like 25s are going to show up in like 90 days. So, I mean, they still get their unit bonus and things like that. There's other things that go into it. And they still took my affiliate pin. But we got a good deal on it. We're planning to keep it for a very long time. I'll just take it as a hand-me-down, you know, in 5 or 6 years. We'll see how life goes. But, yeah, Dana 44 front, Dana 44 rear. Mojaves have cast knuckles. The Rubicons have aluminum knuckles. The Rubicon has an electronically disconnectable front sway bar and a front locker. I don't have that. Those are the two main things that I'm missing. I got the rock rails. This came with Falcon Wild Peak AT3s, which is what I prefer in a tire anyway. Both my truck and our old Jeep and our old FJ all have them. The downside to the Gladiator, as you can see, the wheelbase is redonkulous. You can fit, the Mojave and the Rubicon are 1 inch higher than the other Jeeps. So you can actually fit a 37 with a little light rubbing the way they are. And with like an 1.5 inch spacer in the front, you can clear a 37. But I don't think I'm going to do that while Mrs. Engineer's dailying it. She's going to drive this like 80, 90 miles a day up and down the highway, like most Jeeps do. But on the weekends, we will be out here, and we will bring you some of the stuff. You guys got to be sure to like and subscribe and comment down below. Let me know if you like this content. But we have plans to do a bed rack of some kind of storage. It's not a very big bed, so you kind of got it. Like, we threw our 2 camp chairs and our cooler in here, and it filled it up pretty much. So you got to go vertical with it. But yeah, different interior stuff. I don't know. We'll see. Let me know if you guys like it. Maybe this video gets 3 views and nobody cares. But I'm pretty happy about it. So Mrs. Engineer's ecstatic about it. How happy are you about your new Jeep?
It's fabulous.
It's fabulous? Okay, so thanks for watching. We're going to go back to enjoying nature and making sure we don't burn the forest down. And we'll see you next time on The Driveway Engineer.